Hey, what's going on, VC? I hope everybody's doing well. Cheers. So, just a heads up. Today, this video is more like for to document this day to myself. Um, to sum up, today I became an American citizen. So I decided to do a video, quick video, as usual, no preparation. Me drinking beer and pulling some records out of my ass. Um, so I'm going to share with you from A to Z important American punk albums that helped me, helped define me as a person, and did have a tremendous importance in the path that I chose to follow in my life. I know some of you might be saying, what a time to be an American citizen. Well, just keep your thoughts to yourself. I hear you, but today I can say that I'm probably an American, despite the flaws of this country. The current political and social climate, but this is a country that embraced me, and in true honesty, I think it was the only place I ever lived, and I lived in different countries, and I think it was the very first place that I've never at any circumstance had the need to be nothing but myself, and I am truly grateful for that. So, reflecting on life, because as you might imagine, this is quite a step. It's crystal clear for me that punk rock is by far the most important element in my life. The people that I met, the friends that I have, the line of work that I chose, the places that I lived, and now becoming an American citizen. After living in the United States for 13 years, it's punk rock that put me here, and I'm gonna share with you some personal favorites for A to Z. I decided to pick most of these records. You're well familiar with these records. This is music that meant and mean a lot to me till this day. This is over 3 decades ago. As a Portuguese teen and young adult, pre-internet, pre the era of we think we know everything when we don't, pre all that. So a time and place that anything new was exciting, and it would put you to the work of digesting it over and over and over again, and would evoke emotions, dreams, fantasies, you name it. And this is a bunch of records that created my American fantasy. And I'm gonna, anyways, a little storytelling here. So, A to Z as well. One of the best records ever made. Adolescence, the self-titled, Remember, first time hearing this was nothing like it. In the was nothing like it in my world. Was nothing like it at the time. Uh, yeah, nothing like it. Just Rick Agnew's guitar alone, it's nothing like it. And man, Kids of the Black Hole, still one of my favorite songs of all time. It's one of those songs that as soon as kicks in, even yeah, no way. Oh my god, it's just like cannot be indifferent to it. Picked up this one because I remember having this CD, and this is still my favorite. Let's say crossover band, thrashy punk. The Accused. Today I'm just sharing with you more fun than an Open Casket Funeral, which is an absolutely masterpiece. Masterpiece. And I picked one more for A. It's a band that I love dearly till this day. This, for some reason, is my favorite record by them. And I remember when I heard them for the very first time, this sounded so fucking tough and cool and hard hitting. For me, this shit was fucking so fucking American. And truth be said, I had an opportunity to live in a big American metropolis, Chicago, and even though they're from Atlanta, but certain things became more clear and understandable. Talking about Anti-Heroes, Don't Tread on Me. It's one of my favorite records of all time. For B, gotta go with Bad Brains, the Roar cassette. I remember, man, having the VHS of Scorsese's After Hours, and that scene that he goes in a punk club, and on the background is Pay to Come. I remember like rewinding over and over and over just to catch that 10-second beat of Pay to Come. Brilliant, brilliant band, as we all know. And again, I think this batch of American punk records, can open a debate. I know here on the VC we like this type of debates, but can open the debate with, UK versus United States or versus Australia or Finland, Sweden. It can open a debate, and these are big shoes to fill. And band, again, I think it was my love for punk, without planning things. It felt like I always gravitated towards where this punk music was taking me, and never thought in my wildest dreams 35 years ago or 40 years ago that I will be living in the hometown of this almighty band. I remember listening to Fighting Boys EP and was like blown the fuck away. I think it's still one of the best EPs ever that ever came out in the United States. I'm talking about Battalion of Saints, sharing with you the Rock in Peace comp on Mystic Records. Hailing from San Diego, like, he has that UK 82 Discharge feel, a banger. A record that means the world to me too. Love this band, but this, remember the first time hearing to this, the title song, My War, and man, this thing just grabbed me by the throat. It's kind of like a feeling of despair and hope at the same time. It's fucking classic. C, I had it to give it to the Circle Jerks, of course. Just sharing with you the almighty group Sex. Come on, deny everything, everything. I just want some skank Beverly Hills. One of my favorite records of all time. I remember I used to have these. Not on Posh Boy. This is on Posh Boy. But I used to have it, I believe, on Anagram. Maybe the British, the UK pressing, which I don't have it anymore, strangely. Someone might have snagged that from me when I was on my lowest possible states. But talking about Channel 3, Fear of Life. This is an absolutely banger. I know that, the world we live in now, the internet out there, the YouTube, the Spotify, there's so much Discogs, so much information that it's easier to try to dig for something obscure shit and all that. And sometimes you might just, overlook some records because they're well celebrated. And this might fall in that category. This is one of the best records ever made, top to bottom. For D, this was a no-brainer. My introduction to Dead Kennedys, and I think Dead Kennedys was the band that, when I was introduced to Dead Kennedys, that's when the shit hit the fan and there was no turning back. Those revolutionary ideas, the stick the finger to the man, give the finger to the man, but be active, do it yourself, be proactive, believing, advocate for yourself. The non-conformist mentality, came in at full force, and that's how I am. That's how I am. I feel like I'm a nice guy. Sometimes I might try to please everybody, but trust me, if it comes to reality, hard and arch, that I have to stand for myself, you're in for a treat. Dead Kennedys, In God We Trust, excellent, essential. Liking Biafra's vocal delivery or not, that's for George and Lionel Richie. One of my favorite records of all time, and I think this is one of the best rock and roll albums ever made. Talking about Dead Boys, young, loud, and snotty. No introduction needed here. A record that I believe this record was familiar through maybe a couple comps, cassettes, references in magazines, shit like that. But I got the very first time I listened to this record in its entirety was already through the internet. It was in the early stages of the internet. I remember this younger kid that used to come to my house because I used to be a bootlegger. He used to buy a lot of cassettes from me, and he was one of the first people that I knew that had a computer, and he was already into downloading and burning CDs and all that shit. I will give him lists, and he will bring things to me. And I remember the first time I heard this record, I was like blown the fuck away. Die Kreuzen. What a phenomenal record. What a phenomenal band. Their career is something that not recently came out. There's a book out there that you should give it a read for sure. Man, this is one of my favorite records of all time, and this record could not have came out from anywhere else but the Midwest. Talking about the Midwest and the effigies. Till this day, I cannot be indifferent to songs such as Body Bag, Insecurity, Below the Drop. When I hear those, early seconds of those songs, I'm already hooked. The blood is fucking flowing, pumping. This is the Remains non-viable comp, and it's truly not truly what you need, but this is a good start to have a collection of FG's bangers. And I had an opportunity to live in Chicago. That's where my wife's from. I forgot to say that. If it wasn't for punk rock, I would never had met my wife. And my wife, she's born and raised in Chicago. That's how I ended up in the States. Punk rock love. Yeah. And living in Chicago, even though we're talking 35 years or more after the fact. Having the opportunity of living, seeing, experiencing the American culture. He puts things in a different context. There's so many songs that I remember as a kid that we will listen to those songs, and because our English was very limited, I learned English through listen to punk rock music. I didn't learn English in school. I was a slacker. And our under we would take a lot of lyrics literally and all that, so like the ideas that we would create about places and all that, they were so off but anyways, another interesting fact about punk rock, it can teaches you a foreign language. This is an absolute banger. Remember, I still have the cassette. I got a bootleg of this record cassette. Probably like, who knows, maybe 14, 15, maybe 15. I'll say 15. And this is one of the best American hardcore records, in my opinion. Politically charged. Some will say this is kind of like crossover-ish. It does have that some discharge, quite a bit of discharge, Motorhead at times influenced, but this is an absolutely essential record. Talking about final conflict, Ashes to Ashes, love this shit to death. And one thing that I gotta say about this record is that I always had the idea that the European punk scenes were more politicized. Remember, to all that early 90s anti-capitalism, fuck corporations, scene in Europe and all that. So it's pretty easy to talk shit about America, of course, as the land of the capitalism. But bands like Final Conflict, Nausea, and so man, Dead Kennedys, right? If you were really paying attention, if you're not just like fucking getting drunk and party and being defiant against everyone, you clearly, with Final Conflict, start to understand it. Well, there's a lot of well-informed people in the United States, don't follow for the cliches and stereotypes. Band that I love from Boston. I could have shown Kill for Christ, but this is the first record that I ever bought by them, and I still love this record to death. Talking about the FUs. Do you really want to hurt you? Do you really want to hurt you? Banger, classic. My favorite bands of all time, hands down. I know many love this band to death. Many more consider them overrated. I think they're just brilliant. I'm talking about the Germs and putting things in context, man. Is this 79? Wait, 79? not many worldwide were, you know, bending the rules as the Germs were, you know, music wise, amazing. There's a guy that I had to share, pick this one to share. I could go with the Jabbers, but you know, Gigi Allen, come on, you know. As a teenager, fuck, love this shit. Of course, now, 30 something years later, not really in the mood to listen to ass fucking butt leaking cunt sucking masturbation, but You Ate Me and I Ate You is still a wonderful killer punk rock track. And another American product. You know, something so bizarre out there, balls to the wall, that for a non-American kid was nothing but intriguing, fascinating, you know, just fuck. It seems like there's room for anything and everything on that damn country. And I gotta tell you something, till this day, yeah, that's one of the beauties of the United States. There is room for anybody, everything, and anything. And man, that's punk rock as fuck. Age. Love Johnny Thunders. Love the Heartbreakers. So I'm not gonna mention Johnny Thunders on J or T, but I'll share with you the Almighty Heartbreakers. The live at Max Kansas City. This is a reissue. It's volume 1 and volume 2, so double LP. Yeah, this is junkie punk at its finest. The more how do you call that? I call it junkie punk because for some reason, you know, remember the 90s that even the well, how do they call it? They call it the junkie cool. Even the supermodels and all that stuff. They had to have that junkie look. You know, I think they invented the junkie look. Anyways, Ill Repute. Gonna share with them. I think along with the Aggression and RKL, this was the band that introduced me to the hardcore scene, the hardcore scene in the Oxnard area, and fuck, they're great. Also put Mystic Records on my radar, and spent 30 years of my life, you know, in that rabbit hole, and makes way more sense to me now than it did way back, you know. And now that I can say, I'm gonna have some bragging rights here today. You know, I've surfed in Ventura, you know, having the opportunity to see the land these people come from. Yeah, it's definitely, I don't know, I feel like when if you're truly passionate about it, I guess it takes, you know, you gotta take risks, you know, gamble your life away a little bit at times. But if you're really passionate for something and you let that passion pull you, you get to experience amazing things. And that's my case through my punk rock journey. In this case, American punk rock journey, JFA, my favorite. Yeah. You know, it's like obsessing with this band. I remember first time I drove through Arizona, drove through Phoenix to go to Vegas and all that. And while driving through Arizona, I could not think about anything else but JFA. and it was like, for me, it was just beautiful. I was just like driving around and think, where were the fucking pipelines that these guys will go and skate and all that? Yeah, just yeah, one of the best bands ever. Yeah, I don't know, love it. Kraut, An Adjustment to Society. This is a masterpiece in my book. Well, fun fact about these bands. We have the singles, but you don't want to go through boxes, so I'm sure we do this amazing comp. Probably came out maybe 20 years ago or something. Delude. One thing, it's essential, classic, fucking band. Fun fact, when I got my very first job, it was the very first time that I saw a printer. They had a printer in the office, and man, as soon as I figured it out, the time to sneak in and start printing shit, one of the first things that I printed was the cover. I blew up a cover of a Lute single that is still on the wall at my parents' house till this day. It's like every time I go on vacation, I go to the room, and one of the first things that I look is to see if my mother already started ripping things off the walls, and that Lute print is still there. So, classic, man. And I'm gonna give it to the Misfits. And you know, Misfits, it was one of those bands that, you know, as a kid, we'll see in the movies people wearing t-shirts. We'll see in the movies be spotting Misfits bumper stickers in cars and creepy vans and stuff like that. So there was this Misfits imaginary, at least for me. And I remember one of my best friends, he did move to New York, late 90s, maybe 98, something, I don't know. He moved to New York, and he lived in New York for 10 years, and then he went back to Portugal. And he told me, and I know exactly what he meant. He told me that when he moved to New York, one of the first persons that he encountered, that he saw that stood out to him, was an Asian dude with this long, straight, dark hair, wearing a Misfits t-shirt. And he told to himself, yup, I'm in America. And I knew exactly what he meant. But I'm going to share with you The Evil Life, because this record, love this record to death, because I listened to this shit countless times. My friend Oscar remembers how obsessed we were with this record. And fun fact, this was a record that my beautiful mother gave it to me. Portuguese woman, a Catholic Portuguese woman, doesn't know a word of English, went to a record store and probably told the guy, my kitty likes punk music, what do you recommend? And she brought home Evil Life. Yeah, I think it's funny as fuck. Yeah, I still love this record for the reason. Of course, Minor Threat, yeah, one of the best bands ever. Another band that brought that, you know, anti-establishment element to the scene, that I love these guys to death. I'm talking about MDC. And the band that I completely obsessed, and to have all the records. And then was one of, when I moved to Chicago, was one of the first bands. I was so lucky that I got to see them right off the bat. It's kind of like a dream came true. Talking about Naked Ray Gunman, and this is a band that I've shared many times. He's Jetson, but many times in my videos, and I always mention like they sound like Chicago, and I don't know if Chicagoans, Naked Raygun fans from back in the day, know what I mean, but I have a feeling they might. Because to me, as someone that has the pleasure of moved to Chicago and live in Chicago, that's where my American experience started. Man, yeah, that's for me. Naked Raygun sounds like Chicago. Band that I fucking love this band. Absolutely love this band. Love this record. And check this out. I became familiar with this band. I was probably was really young. I think I was probably like 13. But I remember there was this bookstore, but they will we'll go there to buy comic books, and they'll sell all kind of shit. And they all had badges and patches. And I remember I bought a patch, a Misfits patch, because the patch was cool. But the patch itself was a poster. And it was a poster of a show of Misfits and Necros. So Necros always stayed in my mind. Man, on the day that I found out and had the opportunity to listen Conquest for Death for the very first time, I was blown the fuck away. And I still think this is one of the most underrated recordings of early American punk hardcore. Brilliant. And I had a band that I had to put in here. I got familiar with them through the singles, through a couple CDs. We're showing Wax. That's what we're doing today. But I always loved this scene. I was obsessed with these guys. Still am till these days. A band that I still love to do these days. And listen often. Niblick and Bane. Fucking amazing. New Jersey. Oi. Oh, I'm gonna go with the classic, man, because like it or not, I don't think that nobody anywhere in the world did nothing comparable to this. This is one of those records, sometimes might be taken for granted, but this is one of a kind. It's pointless to try to compare this to anything else. I'm talking about Operation Ivy. Phenomenal. P. A band that for me, how would I say this? Now that I am an American, now that I am an American citizen, now that I have an opportunity to experience the culture, be part of the culture, make an effort to understand the culture. Because if you do not make an effort to understand the culture, doesn't matter where you go, you're still stuck maybe in a place where you were born. I don't know. You gotta let yourself go. Open-minded. It's another beauty of punk rock for me. He always promoted the idea of being open-minded. Open-minded. And a band that for me, I would say to someone that wants to understand the beauty, the charm, the greatness, the ethos of American living through this. This is a band that I think is I would say this is a great soundtrack of America. I'm talking about Pagans. The Pagans. Incredible important record for me. I could not leave this one out. Another record that was like, it changed the perception of what my thought American general was as kids. Was pissed Ideas Are Bulletproof. This is a classic. If you never listen to this record, man, you're losing in life. This was an all-time favorite. Everybody loved it. You know, the older punks in Portugal, this was just like everybody has this shit painted on their leather jackets, and rightfully so. Poison Idea, Kings of Punk. Q, you got that right. It's Queers. I'm just gonna share with you what year did this came out. It doesn't have a year. Sometime in the 90s, but this is the record that I bought when it came out. And it's still one of my favorites. And this is American as It Can Be. Beat Off. Yeah. Ramones and Beach Boys. In a blender. Drop the Attitude Fucker. Teenage Glue Sniffer. Too Many Twinkies. I remember, what the fuck is a Twinkie? No, I know. The Almighty Ramones. This is one of the best comps ever made, in my opinion. Packaging and selection of tracks. There's not many best-ofs out there from any band that can rival with this compilation. Brilliant. And you all remember, like, staring at this thing and seeing the switchblade knives and baseball bats and, you know, fuck. America must be cool. It was the thought. And the band that it screams America. This is a record that if you also take the time to digest this record and whatever you digested, you know. I heard people saying that the lyrics are what matters the most to them. It's just the sound. It's a little bit hard for me to comprehend, even though I listen to a lot of foreign music. And truth to be said, I don't speak a word of Swedish or Finnish and all that, and I can appreciate, and I love that shit. So I guess I understand what you mean, but this is a record, if you put yourself through experiencing the sound and the lyrics alone, this is all-star American. The Replacements. Sorry, Ma, I forgot to take out the trash. S. Sloppy Seconds. Screeching Weasel. Yeah, Screeching Weasel. Love them to death. I have all their shit. I have all their records. My Brain Hurts. It's probably the first one I bought. I remember when I met my wife. I met my wife 26 years ago. And I told her, hey, you know, became friends and all that. So one day I'm going to go visit you. But if I go visit you, you got to promise me you're going to take me to see the to go to a Screeching Weasel show. And truth to be said, down the road, I went to Chicago, man. And one of the first gigs that we caught was a Screeching Weasel show. And I was like, whoa. Life happens. And a band that I love. You guys all know how much I love Sloppy Seconds. I love this shit, man. And the amount of stereotypes and pop culture references that I became familiar through Sloppy Seconds, just priceless. I know you listen to the songs and it's kind of like comical. It's like, yeah, but there's a beauty to it. You know, there's a beauty to it. You know, there's a beauty to it. When you're young and you're discovering things through music, I didn't know who Tracy Lords was. If it wasn't for Sloppy Seconds. T. a band that I love. I love everything that these guys ever done. Everything. There's shifts on their sound. First album is an absolutely essential first wave of American punk hardcore. It was the first album that I bought by them. Was this one? Still here, all these years later. Still love this to death. More polished, more melodic. Talk about Toxic Reasons, Bullets for You. The band that when you live in Southern California, it's like your perception of the band changes totally. Even now in 2026, as a foreigner, of course, an American that lived through this era, it has a total different experience. We live this, but the experience is like what we create or we imagine in our minds. With this particular band, till this day, if you have the opportunity to experience Southern California, this band will make so much more sense to you. Talking about True Sounds of Liberty. I picked up this comp today. Thoughts of Yesterday. He has like Weather Statues, Peace Through Power, Abolish Government. Yeah. Classic. Bosch Boy, You. Pick two bands that I fucking love. Mr. Bobby Steele. The Undead. He made a career with the Misfits. He made his own. And he fucking kicks ass. And a record that I love this record, man. I know it's a record that people say, it's whatever, man. That kid that I mentioned earlier, he burned a CD for me with this back in the day. But when I got this, I was like stoked. Talking about US Chaos. We got the power. Brilliant shit. The band that was familiar since I was a kid, like every single Portuguese person, because this band, I felt like they were bigger in Portugal than they ever were in the United States, and I'm gonna go see them this Thursday. The Violent Femmes, sharing with you this comp, the Head It Up comp. She's brilliant. Yeah, what a band. But if Violent Femmes doesn't cover the punk subject, I'm gonna share a band that I love, another Chicago band, and this is actually a very appropriate record to share right here. This is brilliant, snotty 90s punk rock, funny, hilarious, brilliant covers here. No Rules in Love. Oh, what a cover. And this is appropriate for the day, for the celebrations, Talking about the Vindictives, Party Time for Assholes. This is amazing, so fun, so much fun. Like the Ramones, you gotta like the Vindictives. The record that was always. This was an important record. Warzone. Don't Forget the Struggle. Don't Forget the Streets. It was like, as much as I'm not gonna. Love Cro-Max, Age of Quarrel, love Cro-Max to death, but with years this record kind of grew on me, and yeah, this is essential too. I'm gonna show one more. I'm got another New Jersey oi band. I love this shit to death. Another band that I had to have everything. Talking about the Wretched Ones, Go to Work, man. This is so fucking American. I recall hearing These Four Walls, Bottles in cans, Mind Your Own Business, Up in Smoke, In Life It's Hard, man. I just wanted to be in New Jersey. Back in the 90s, I never made it. Love them to death. X, a masterpiece. The masterpiece. This is a record that LA these days, or the last 20 years, doesn't depict this era at all. But the ones that had the opportunity to experience that, should consider themselves blessed, because this is one of the best records ever made. Why? Gonna give it to this record because I remember us fucking being crazy about this shit when we were teenagers. Youth Brigade, Sound and Fury, Sync with California. Oh, what a record! I remember clearly underage drinking and sing along to Sync with California. Z. I'm just gonna share the zeros again. Another San Diego band, Chula Vista. Got to meet them, got to see them, got to go to around the corner to a record store run by one of the members. Never thought I had a chance to experience something like it, but. For Z, this is my favorite, one of my favorite records of all time. This is actually the first concert I saw in the United States when I moved in. I moved to the United States, and like 2 days later, the first show that I walked in to see was this one, and it was fucking memorable for me. I couldn't believe it. I was like a kid in a candy store. Man, and yeah, one of the best records. American punk records of all time. Zero Voice, Vicious Circle. And that's a wrap. Well, I hope you guys are doing well. I'll see you soon. From now on, I'm gonna have time to be more consistent and start doing what I was doing before. And yeah, thank you for your support. You guys have a great weekend. Cheers.